Okay, Jake, welcome to F.A.C.E. I'm going to get you set up. Really looking forward to talking to you, my trading warrior brother. And I'm unmuting you right now. Welcome to F.A.C.E., Jake.
Hey, thank you. Good morning. How you doing, Dale?
Good, good. Very nice to meet you, buddy. I appreciate you taking
Likewise.
time to be with us today. I'm not sure if I prepped you, but if you want to share your screen, there's a green box on your drop-down menu that says share. And if you hover your mouse above it, you'll see it. And then a picture speaks 1,000 words. We could look at your setups here.
Okay.
You see it?
Green box. Okay.
It'll say share on it.
No. Mine's a red one. So.
Really? Okay. Well,
I think.
Try it.
I think this works.
It's working.
You're
it's
coming up,
through.
buddy.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful. So I had a feeling you were going to be talking about Bitcoin. Now, you know, Bitcoin started to recover before we got this Fed announcement. But before we get to the markets, Jake, maybe we could jump into a time machine and tell me how trading entered your life and, you know, perhaps what you were doing before it and, you know, just a little bit about your journey into from point A to where you are now, point B.
Yeah, it's been some journey. Before I knew about Bitcoin and got into trading at all, I was in operations for like corporate healthcare, and I'd done that for nearly 15 years. And kind of, you know, strange story. The VP of my company actually started to ask me if I knew about Bitcoin, and I didn't. So I started to research it, and within like, you know, a day after I started researching, I was like, I gotta buy some. And this is when it was, you know, around $2,000. This was in 2017. I kind of explored, just became very, very interested in all of that. It was a completely different market, obviously, as it is than what it is now, and you know, I was in the right place at the right time.
How would you explain the character of it has changed from 2017? It's not that long ago.
Well,
why is it different now?
I think it's kind of, it had already had its emperors wearing no clothes kind of moment.
I see. Okay.
Whereas when I entered, there were a lot of, I mean, pretty much everybody came in with a tremendous amount of optimism. As far as blockchain technology and these new ICOs, initial coin offerings, with the potential to solve these problems that weren't even really problems to begin with, but everybody kind of visioned, oh, this is the future, and it was a greed element. I think everybody that came in and looked at where Bitcoin was and where it had come from was kind of looking to find the next Bitcoin, and now you have all these ICOs claiming that they're gonna reinvent the wheel, or I mean, do something crazy, and decentralization and all of that was very appealing. But once the bear market hit, and you saw both the altcoin market, which are the ICOs and other cryptocurrencies that are not Bitcoin, as well as Bitcoin, both in terrible bear markets, Bitcoin versus USD and altcoins versus Bitcoin.
You talk about the decline from 18,000 to 3.
Yes. So keep in mind, during that time period, when you're trading cryptocurrencies, a lot of people would, there are some that only have a pairing versus BTC or versus Ethereum, for instance, whereas, you know, some of the bigger ones will have both. You can trade it versus USD and you can trade it versus Bitcoin, but a lot of them were solely Bitcoin pairings. So it kind of reminds me of what we're seeing in the stock market right now, as far as how people are looking at the US dollar. So picture this, you have in late 2017, 2018, Bitcoin tops out around 19K and then goes into a bear market with lower highs, kind of classic crash cycle. During that time period, the altcoins are actually also and have been in a bear market versus BTC since mid 2017. So they're in essence in two bear markets at the same time, So that's why that hit was extra hard to people on the USD side, because they're losing their value versus Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin's losing versus US dollar. So now we have stocks which, you know, are losing against USD, obviously, right? They're dipping horribly, but what if the actual value of the dollar goes down at the same time? You know,
That'll
it's like
lift,
a double
that may
whammy.
lift stocks on a nominal
You would
basis.
think it would, right?
Mm-hmm.
But how has that happened in the past?
Like 2008, dollar declined by 30%, nominal gains in the market of 30% from the 09 low. So you can't have nominal gains.
So in 09, when Obama bailed out, the USD went down and stocks went up. Is what you're saying?
Yep.
How about like in during like Reagan's era?
I don't know. I have old timers, so I can't remember that far back. You'll have to.
Yeah. Normally you would expect that. I mean, because that's how the equation works, right?
Yeah.
It's stock versus USD. If the value of the USD goes down, then the stock should go up. But I'm trying to figure out if
during the Reagan
has the opposite
years,
ever happened.
Okay, well,
I think the USD went down during Reagan's term.
Not when the liquidator Paul Volcker was chairman of the Fed. Everything went down except the dollar. So rates went to short-term rates went up to 19%. That'll suck money off Mars. So that was a little different environment. What I'm interested in now, Jake, is when you talk about these altcoins, they're kind of like the junk, like tertiary stocks. And Bitcoin's had a recovery.
Right.
Will these altcoins ever recover, or are they just dust in the wind forever? And it was just a speculative bubble, and some things will, I don't know, can these coins go BK and go out of existence, these altcoins?
I think in essence, most of them definitely can. There needs to be like some sort of value being offered, and there just isn't any real use case or provable. Nobody is using decentralized applications yet. Now, will they use them in the future? I don't know. I think they may, but it may not be in the form of an ICO. It might be a company like Amazon implementing, blockchain and a decentralized atmosphere privately on their own, and not giving you a token that you can trade, for speculative value. So the actual
do you think Bitcoin
yes.
and crypto are a hedge against a depression or a recession? A lot of people thought it might be a safe haven, and during the recent stock market decline, it kind of went with the market. If we're in a bear market in stocks, are we also in a bear market in crypto, Bitcoin in particular?
So, yeah, I mean, because I really kind of am against that narrative. We saw that also in December of 2018 when stocks PP plunge protection hopped in, and it was like right after Christmas, and you saw a big recovery. I mean, that was kind of right around the point where Bitcoin rallied from its lows around 3,500, made it all the way up to 14K with stocks. So a lot of the performance times that Bitcoin has done well has been good environment for risk on. And there haven't been very many tests in essence since 2008 of how Bitcoin will handle a risk off environment. But from what we can see in 2018 as well as now, obviously there is no safe haven component thus far. Now does the coronavirus and what happens during and after in the next year or so, does that change the way people look at Bitcoin versus USD and gold and silver? I don't know. It's going to be interesting. One of the things that you can't underestimate is that with this specific virus, there is going to be a major push for reduction in hard currency, dollars, fiat
Yeah, cash,
currency,
because
cash. They're
well,
trying to get
there's
rid
been
of
a
it
war on cash, Jake,
for a
going
long
on for a
time. Yeah.
long time. And this is like, I wrote a poem about Corona. It's not accurate, but it goes like, Corona, Corona, fear that I'll own you. Born in a lab in China, spreading so I'll find you. No one is safe, not even the king, but I'll be the excuse for everything. And, this is what it could also be an excuse for, that people that use cash, the virus and bacteria, people are familiar, they'll get freaked out, they won't want to use paper. But, that argument, doesn't the virus spread on your credit card and your telephone and everything else? So maybe it's just about going to a cashless system where there's even more control. And again, not about the virus, but about something else. And the virus is being used as an excuse.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were just talking about this last night. People have their conspiracies and whatnot, and I don't have the answers on what the hell is happening. This is the craziest thing that I've ever had to experience in my life. And
well, you have to be
over
over 100
early January.
Yeah, you have to be over 130 years old to have lived through this before, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The pandemic of 1918.
And they didn't have TikTok and Instagram showing you what was actually happening back then. I mean, could you imagine what that would have been like? This is going to be different this go around, because it's like you could see everything kind of happening in real time. And, just like in a market, we saw the complacency in January, where it was pretty obvious this was serious. I mean, as China has, basically effectively shut down their country and put almost 1 billion people in house arrest right away. And I remember Ebola, I remember SARS, I remember H1N1, Zika, all these different BS kind of flu things that they scared the crap out of us with. In January, they weren't really hitting you over the head with the fear as far as American media. It was being kind of downplayed, but the reaction that China, their reaction right away was decisive, and it was extreme, like we have never seen before. Yet nobody kind of, including our president, wasn't taking it very serious at the time. I was glad that he shut the borders, but that wasn't enough. Now we're kind of seeing how serious America is taking it. I mean, we've never seen anything like this, where people are in their houses and we're shutting down the economy, basically. But this is unprecedented stuff.
It's a once in a
comparing
lifetime.
it to past crashes, I don't know. I don't think the behavior or the emotions of the market participants are the same as 2008 or 2001, 2018. So when you think about Bitcoin and how low can it go, we just saw it at damn near $3,000, right? In 2018. Guess what? The world wasn't fucking ending. Oh, pardon me. The world wasn't ending. I remember 2018, it was just, hey, this crypto's crashing. This sucks. People are losing money, but you didn't have to stay in your house. You didn't know, if your family members were going to be sick, if you were going to be able to go back to work for 18 months, which some people are discussing. So the level of fear and uncertainty right now is so extreme that, I mean, who knows? Who knows? You just have to look at it as bearish until it isn't.
Okay, so let's talk about something actionable. So we've had a pretty decent rally from kind of a crash low at 3,000. We've rallied 3,000 here. What's your take, and how do you use RSI? If I looked at me looking at your chart right here, Jake, you see the RSI reading that we had at the lows. It looks like it was like 20 or lower.
Yeah.
15.
Yep.
I would say, based upon what I know about RSI, that it would be unusual for that to be a low because price and momentum confirmed down there. What are your thoughts?
Right. You know what? I totally forgot I even had RSI on this chart. I'm not a huge user of it, and I was enjoying.
What is it? Decorative?
No. I mean, I use it to some extent, but it's not a main thing. I'm more of like price action trader.
Okay.
Combined with some sentiment as well.
You trade. You prefer to trade naked?
Yeah. For the most part.
All right. Well, keep your shades strong. Keep your shades drawn, Jake. All right.
Yeah, I have
All
yeah, okay. I have different horizontal levels that I like to keep an eye on, of course, but basically looking at this, it's just I mean, we've been bearish since around 9K, when it failed at 10.5 and started to see Corona like, hey, this is going to be serious. I think this is going to affect all markets. And, you know, if stocks pull back, Bitcoin's going with it. So that was kind of when we got really bearish. And you just see like bear flags developing. This is a way larger one. The 3,600 level was hit with a lot. I mean, in crypto, people think that there's like liquidity, but compared to other markets, it's really not there. And there were a lot of exchanges failing on that day. I mean, at the same time, I heard, yeah, oh yeah, this had something to do
happening?
with BitMEX. So
what
BitMEX,
they do? They just ceased trading, and you couldn't get a trade
yeah,
off.
yeah,
What happened?
yeah. You couldn't. It shut down, but then the orders filled for somebody at 3,600, and then it bounced. So like, meanwhile it bounces from 3,600. Here, let me show you this hourly. On like one of the most popular exchanges, you get 3,600 comes in and it bounces all the way to 5K, but it wasn't tradable on that main exchange. Other exchanges, you could, but the biggest, most popular
BitMEX?
one, yeah, BitMEX had a really kind of scammy shutdown throughout that.
Okay, I have a good question coming from one of our attendees. Ingmar would like to know what are your expectations for Bitcoin around the halving in May?
The halvening?
Yeah, halvening.
So I think it really depends on there are so many variables that I don't have the answer to. And
I don't know is a good answer.
Yeah. I mean, my expectation, I don't think I think in the past, obviously the halvening, it's a bullish narrative, but here's the deal. If people still aren't working, and you see the Democrats and the Republicans can't get together yet and figure out what to do about a stimulus. But if people are not working for a couple months and who knows where their money's coming from, you know, now it starts to get a little bit dicey. More and more people, if you look at the numbers, it's simple math. It's going to get worse before it gets better. So people start to get sick. You have someone in your family sick, you're sick, you're not working, you don't know how you're going to pay rent. The grocery store starts to have less food. You're getting nervous. A month down the road, your money's running out. You're starting to worry about how do you buy food. Are you going to run out and buy some speculative asset that just dumps 70%? Like, think about that. Does it make sense? I mean,
yeah,
you know what?
You sound like you've been in this game longer than 3 years to make a statement like that.
Well, thank you.
You talk about.
I have a very good mentor.
Do you? Who is it?
Yeah, his name is Kazanomics, actually. So this guy, he's a polarizing figure, but he's been he's called some of the most major crazy moves in all markets. And, you know, we actually do a show together on YouTube and Twitch, and we came out and around the VIX was, I think, around 20, or I think it was approaching like 30, in that range. This was before the Monday Japanese bank hopped in and kind of saved people's butts. This was maybe about 3 weeks ago. We warned people how bad this was going to get. He's got a pretty crazy VIX chart where if this doesn't go down, I mean, things can get.
He's looking for 100.
I mean, this is another.
What's he looking for?
It can. I mean, if you look at.
I was only looking for 30 when I was buying it.
It's his chart. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. He says this reminds him of when Buffett kind of bought in 2008, and he bought. I think VIX was right around this level. It's around 40, and it shot up to 100. So a lot of people are like, yeah, Buffett's in cash, and if he starts buying, you know, he's going to save us. You got to realize he took like a 40% loss from where he bought. He didn't catch the bottom at all, and of course he made money in the end. But a lot of people are like looking for Warren Buffett to save them here. This can get incredibly volatile. So I mean, from the shockwave of the top,
where's he looking for the top? Over 100?
You'd have to ask him.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you brought it
Yeah.
up, so I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
you
no, no,
knew.
no, I know.
Okay.
Like his chart is like if you get a full breakout, I mean, yeah, this can enter a price discovery scenario. You don't know.
Okay.
Um,
All right,
yeah,
Jake.
that's
Well, you
scary.
you
It's
talk
very.
about we. Do you have a business model? Why are you on Twitter?
Why am I on Twitter? So when I like to say we a lot because so it's not just me. You know,
Oh,
I
I
don't
thought
want to
maybe
be
you
like all
were
about me. But yeah, no,
schizophrenic.
I have a trading group with my friends and we have we're like a partnership of about 5 guys together, and we have some members that. So when I say we, I mean like us as a group that we're on
Okay.
top of this.
What's do you have? If you'd like to show where people could find you and watch what you do, or consider becoming a member, now would be a
Yeah.
good time to show it. Go ahead. It's I'm
Okay.
going to
Yeah.
let you have a
Absolutely.
little, let you, for you giving us some of your time, I'm going to
To
let you have a little
pitch my
commercial.
stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So
We
yeah,
don't
you
view
guys can
anyone as
find me. I mean,
competition.
yeah. You guys
We don't
do
have
a
any
similar thing, right?
competition. You know what I mean?
That's right.
All
That's right.
right.
Everybody's got to do their own thing,
Yeah.
and you know, the bottom line is what we do is we're trading all asset classes,
Hmm.
crypto, or I mean, everything. We do everything,
Everything that moves.
and we're not going to sit here. Yeah, we're not going to sit here and tell you do this, do that. It's more about like educating people so they could start to make their own decisions. So
Yeah.
a lot of the guys came in. It's strange enough. You saw a big wave of people coming in January because you had crypto pumping, stocks were pumping. All of a sudden, everybody, all these new traders started to come into the market and they wanted guidance. They're the main shift that we're starting to get from those guys is like getting them to realize you want to protect your money. You don't want to, if the worst thing that can happen is you don't make money. That's not a bad place to be, especially in a bear market. So like a lot of them came in thinking like they're going to make money every day no matter what. And now like a few months later, after going through some crazy price action, you're starting to see people really turn the corner, whereas people that just kind of came in as new and just doing their thing, they're like completely wrecked, lost like 80% of their portfolio. I get messages from those type of people and it's really sad. But anyway, if you guys are interested in what we do, you can follow me on Twitter, really, at Korean Jew Crypto. And if
Oh,
you're
all right. Well,
interested
let me ask
in,
you about
yeah,
your handle. Why did you decide to go with that handle? It's unusual.
why? Okay, so yeah. Well, I'm an unusual guy, and as a kid, so my mother is Korean. She's from South Korea, and my dad's a
Okay.
Brooklyn Jew, and they
Okay.
met at Rockefeller Center skating rink. My
Okay.
dad was at the restaurant. My dad was the manager, and she was a waitress. And
Huh.
here I come. I'm here,
Yeah.
and we lived in Brooklyn. We moved to New Jersey, this neighborhood that wasn't very diverse. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
And truth be told, I'm an older guy. I'm in my 30s.
That's
People
old.
complain about, well, I mean, compared to some of these kids,
Oh, okay.
like that
Yeah.
are like, that, I don't know. A lot of
All
these
right. Go
guys
ahead.
are like
Go ahead.
21 years old. So in
So
case
you
you
were
didn't
in
know how
this
old I
neighborhood.
was,
Were you bullied?
yeah.
You're
I mean, yeah, of course.
all
I
right.
couldn't win on any side. So it's kind of ironic. My mom would pack me like Korean food, like kimchi, as well as like some homemade sushi, and
Yeah.
I'd be my classmates are, what is that garbage? Oh, that's gross. Ew.
Yeah.
Like, and now it's like these hipsters,
Now
they
it's
love
fashionable.
kimchi, they
Yeah.
love sushi. It's you can't so bottom line was, yeah, I caught it from both sides. I didn't feel like I belonged. When people would
Yeah.
ask me, because I'm biracial and it wasn't as common back then, people would be like, what are you? They knew I was Asian, so they called me
Yeah.
Chinese, but I'd always have to explain my ethnicity, and every
Yeah.
time it would, like, my face would get red. I'm Korean and what? And Jewish. Ugh, ew. Like people didn't like that. So, so fast forward 20 years. Now I've lived my life. um, yeah, I'm glad you
All
could
right. Well,
laugh at
you.
it.
Hey,
This
you
is
know
very
what?
hard for me to discuss. No, no, I'm kidding.
No, it's great. I mean, you know
Yeah,
what? That was great training for being a trader, because you had to
yeah,
learn to live with adversity. And, in this
yeah,
business,
absolutely.
if you can't live through adversity, you should do something else.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, it makes you stronger in the long run, is what it does.
I was wondering, did you hear my opening? I was wondering if you had Kim Jong-un at your bar mitzvah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No,
huh? No, he
I
wasn't
did
there.
not.
Did you have one?
No.
Did you have one?
A bar mitzvah? Yes, I did. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm
yeah,
the real
because
deal,
your
man.
father. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in the Jewish,
yes,
my mother actually converted.
Yeah.
She converted. Yeah, that's the only way it could have been kosher, man.
Okay.
So how do I go from being embarrassed to using this as my name and how I'm known as now was, I'm getting into crypto. I needed to make a handle, and in chats, video games, all this, I never had a good name. I didn't have a go-to handle. It was never cool.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell am I going to call myself? And I'm like, you know what? Korean Jew. That's what I am. Screw it. That's what I'm going to say. I just Korean Jew. Very simple. These people are going to listen. They'll be like, because you're like, oh, he's Korean and a Jew. This guy he might know what he's talking about. So of course it got people's attention. People love the name.
Yeah.
And kind of the rest is history.
I'll tell you what, Jake.
Like, what a weird name. I'm like, hey, that's my life, man.
Yeah, I know it's a stereotype, but I sure wouldn't want to have
strength.
Sure wouldn't want to have to negotiate with you with that DNA that you have. So anyway, Jake, really a pleasure meeting you. And people could follow you on Twitter. And I like it or not, you've walked on fire being interviewed by me, and you're now my trading warrior brother, you Korean Jew.
Thank you so much. No, this was a lot of fun. Appreciate you having me on. And, anybody that wants to get more interested in what we do, just follow me on Twitter and you'll see.
Well, good hunting. May pips fall upon you and everyone you work with, and stay healthy, buddy. And really thank you for your time and sharing your journey with us today on F.A.C.E, Jake.
Likewise. Everyone be safe and healthy out there. Prayers up.
Okay, that's a wrap. And whether it's crypto or currencies, remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. We'll be back with you for Turnaround Tuesday. Market giving up a lot of its gains. S&P's only up 10, so Turnaround Tuesday could still set up, and S&P's making new lows, and the yen making a new high. I think the dollar already has turned. So good hunting the rest of the day, everyone. Adios. See everyone tomorrow. Thank you again, Jake. You're welcome, Alvin, Sinatra, Stavros.
Thanks for having me.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye, Jake.